Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Homage to the exalted one, the worthy one, the supremely enlightened one. Bhikkhu bhikkhave viyatto vinito visarado bahussuto dhammadaru dhammanu dhamma patipanno sanghang sobheti. Good evening everyone. The most venerable Mahasangha, friends in the Dhamma, we are going to start our annual monastic retreat conducted by the Bhavana Society. First of all, I would like to pay my gratitude to the Bhantes and the Institute. Especially, we should pay our gratitude to the most venerable Bhante Ji, who has been conducting this spiritual monastic retreat for many decades. Especially, this is the 40th year starting this Bhavana Society. We are so fortunate having such a special meditation center for the people, not only for monks but for all people who are in this world. In this discussion, I would like to explain some discourses based on the topic of the role of monks. Here I have selected some discourses: Sobhanti Sutta, Yodajiva Sutta, Bhikkhu Mitta Sutta. These are the discourses we have selected here. Especially we based on Sobhanti Sutta. Before we start this discussion, I would like to explain something about the monkhood, Bhikkhu. Bhikkhu means, in Tripitaka it says in Jahana Vibhanga, the meaning of Bhikkhu. Sansare bhayang ikatiti Bhikkhu. He who sees the fear of the world, it means Bhikkhu. When we become the monkhood, we see the fear of the sansaric journey. That is why we are ordained in the dispensation of the Buddha. And also, as monks, Buddha always says that anyamanya vachanena, anyamanya vuttavanena. We always should help each other. Anyamanya vachanena, we should talk with each other. And also, anyamanya vuttavanena, we should uplift everyone's moral and spirit. That is our duty. No matter whether we are elder or younger, our responsibility is to talk each other and also uplifting each other. That is the thing that I also doing here. For that, first of all, I say you that this is not just a lecture or sermon, but a discussion. After finishing this discussion, you also can participate to it. And especially I invite senior monks to give your suggestions, thoughts and opinions, and you can develop this discussion for the good way. And also, when we come to the Buddha's message, all the doctrines that Buddha has explained for 45 years can be summarized into one sentence: Sacitta Pariyodapanam, purifying one's mind. Why do we need to purify our mind? Our mind is the most important thing that we receive. Our entire life depends on our mind. Our happiness depends on how far we have purified our mind. Purification of mind is highly appreciated by the Supreme Buddha. That is why when we start the Dhammapada, it is very familiar that Mano Pubbangama Dhamma. Mind is a foreigner. Mind is chief. Mind made Dade. Here it is very important to understand our mind and keep in our mind pure and calm. And also, when we see the Buddha's disciples, after Buddha preaching his Dhamma, the four groups arose in this world. They are Bhikkhu, Bhikkhuni, Upasaka, Upasika, monks, nuns, laymen, and lay women. These are the four groups that arose because of the Buddha's great service. Among them, Buddha especially paid his attention to the bhikkhu. The reason is that monks are the people who learn this message, who practice this message, who protect this message, and also who brought this message from generation to generation. In this situation, as monks, we have a very big responsibility. We should understand our role, our duties, and also we have to fulfill it as much as we can. That is the thing that we are doing here. Especially, I would like to appreciate your participation. As monks, you have a lot of activities, religious activities at your temples. Having those activities, you have dedicated these few days for your spiritual development. That is very important. That is not only for our life, but it helps us to do our service very well. That is why you have come here from along the way. I really appreciate your participation. You all like to develop your spirituality. You are seeking the Buddha's message. You are seeking inner peace. You want to develop your spirituality. That is why you have come here. That should be really appreciated. Buddha says very clearly, as monks, we have some examples. According to the Ekaputta Sutta, Buddha says, as monks, we should follow special monks. Buddha never said us to follow the Buddha. That is very important. Buddha always encouraged us to follow the main disciples, Sariputta and Moggallana. As monks, our highest examples are that Reverend Sariputta and Reverend Moggallana. Buddha says Reverend Sariputta is like a mother. Sayyatabi bhikkhave janiti. And also Buddha says Reverend Moggallana is like the baby sister. Kiriyamma? Sariputta, Reverend Sariputta is like mother. And also Reverend Moggallana is like baby sister. That is very important. Buddha says always that we should follow the qualities of Sariputta. He was so humble. Even though he is the Dhammasenadipati, always he respected other monks. He respected even small monks, a little monk, because of his great qualities. We should follow their qualities. When we read their characters, actually we can learn a lot of things. With that intention, now we are going to enter our topic, the role of monks. Here Buddha says, Bhikkhu bhikkhave viyatto vinito visarado bahussuto dhammadaru dhammanu dhamma patipanno sanghang sobheti. Bhikkhu bhikkhave viyatto vinito visarado bahussuto dhammadaru dhammanu dhamma patipanno sanghang sobheti. There are some qualities here. As a monk, if we have these qualities, we can beautify the Sangha. There are 6 qualities we can see here. If a bhikkhu is vyakto, competent, vinito, disciplined, visarado, assured, bahussuto, educated, Dhammagaru, memorized, Dhammanu Patipanno, practice. If a monk has these qualities, he beautifies the Sangha Sasana. In this situation, we can understand what are the qualities that we should have. It is very important. Vyakta, we should learn the Dhamma. We should be confident in what the Buddha taught. And also Vinita, we should have good discipline. Buddha says very clearly, Silena anupetasya sutenatto navidyati. Without discipline, the knowledge is useless. According to our knowledge, we should follow this path. That is why Buddha always encourage us to practice this path. And also Visarado, assured. We should be assured in the Dhamma. When someone asks some questions, we should be proud of our knowledge. We should have some answers when someone asks some questions. Therefore, we should have good knowledge. And also Bahusuto, educated. We have to learn a lot. Especially we should give the priority to learn Tripitaka. That is very important. Based on Tripitaka, using Attakatha or commentaries and sub-commentaries, we have to develop our knowledge. That is important. Dhammagaru. Dhammagaru means memorized. We have to learn something by heart. That is also important. It is not important for the lay people, but especially as monks who guide the society, who guide the lay people, we should have to learn something by heart. We have to memorize them. That is also one of the qualities that a monk should have. Dhammanu Patipanno. We have to practice what we learned, what we memorize. If a monk has these 6 qualities, he beautifies the Sangha Sasana, Buddha Sasana. This is the main steps of the role of monks. And also, when we go forward, we can categorize these qualities into 4 in the second page. Learning Dhamma, practicing Dhamma, propagating Dhamma, and preserving Dhamma. Learning Dhamma means we have to learn Dhamma again and again. Here it is very important to understand the association of good friends. Buddha says the main thing that decides our spiritual path that associating good friends. The more we associate good friends, the more we listening to Dhamma. The more we listening to Dhamma, the more we cleanse the path. The more we cleanse the path, the more our saddha or confidence in the triple gem gradually increases. That is very important. With the association of good friends, noble association, we are listening to Dhamma. When we understand the path, then our saddha or confidence in the triple gem gradually increases. When we are confident in the Buddha's enlightenment, our effort gradually increases. Virya. When we practice effort, then we practice mindfulness. Sati. As the result of practicing mindfulness, we can concentrate our mind. Samadhi. When mind gains concentration, we can reflect on impermanence as it is. That says as wisdom or panya. Saddha, Virya, Sati, Samadhi, Panya. These are the 5 spiritual faculties that guide our spiritual path. In this situation, we can understand how we develop our Dhamma knowledge. Learning Dhamma is very important, especially as monks with the Pali language. We have to develop our Dhamma knowledge. That is why you are here. That is why you are interested in practicing this path. The second one is practicing Dhamma. According to our knowledge, we have to practice it. When we discuss Buddha's message, it can be divided into two. One of them is the heavenly path. The other thing is the spiritual path. When we practice Dhamma, when we learn Dhamma, we should have the clear understanding the heavenly path and deliverance path. When we listening to a Dhamma Desana, we should know that that sermon explains whether heavenly path or deliverance path. Heavenly path based on the knowledge of karmic law. According to our intention, according to our mental states, if we do something physically, verbally or mentally, we will have the same results. If we know this situation, we always try to overcome evils and also we try to practice good deeds. Sabba papa sakaranam kusala supasampada. This is the heavenly path. As the result of practicing this path, we should have a confidence in that we never fall into hell. This is the real assurance, insurance, safety, refuge that we gain throughout practicing Dhamma. Especially as monks, we should be confident in that we never fall into hell. For that, we have to develop three meritorious deeds: generosity, virtue, and meditation. Generosity means, as monks, Buddha says, Sabbadanan Dhammadanan Jinati. The gift of Dhamma excels all other gifts. That is the highest gift that we give to the people. And also, in the primary level, on the path of heaven, the highest quality that we can practice is that practicing loving kindness meditation or any other concentration meditation technique. As the result of this path, we are able to reduce 5 hindrances. The purpose of heavenly path is that to reduce our hindrances. But it is a temporary solution. But by reducing hindrances, we can purify our mind and also we can see the result of our practice. The reason is that we can reduce especially greed and anger, which disturb our peace of mind. In this situation, reducing 5 hindrances is based on the heavenly path. Last days, I watched a video in YouTube. The topic is 5 hindrances, explained by a Mahayanic monk. Actually, views are more than 10 million people. The topic is 5 hindrances. But sometimes we discuss 5 hindrances. Some people are not interested in listening to it. But this topic in internet, we can see more than 10 million people. People in the world, they are seeking inner peace in the current society. They are interested in purifying their mind. In this situation, as monks, we have a responsibility to learn this message and practice this message as much as we can. The highest benefit throughout practicing this path come to our life. When we practice Dhamma day by day, we can see our inner peace, our purity of mind. We can see the inner peace, happiness. The more we reduce negative thoughts, the more we can understand our life and also we can overcome negativities from our mind. That is more beneficial to our life. The third one is propagating Dhamma or spreading Dhamma. Not only we learning or practicing Dhamma as monks we have a great duty to spread this Dhamma to the world. That is why the worthy one advised the first 60 Arahants in his words, Charata Bhikkhave Charikang Bahujan Hitaya Bahujan Sukhaya Attaya Hitaya Sukhaya Deva Manusvanam. Desyata Bhikkhave Dhammang Adi Kalyanang Madhya Kalyanang Pariyosani Kalyanang. Buddha advised us to go from village to village, explaining this message, which is the beginning is excellent, middle is excellent, and also the end is excellent. What is the beginning? Beginning is the virtue of sila. What is the middle? Middle is the samadhi, yes, concentration. And also what is the end? End is panya, or wisdom. Explaining these three stages, Buddha advises us to go to the people. Buddha advises us to go from village to village, explain this message for the well-being of many men and celestial beings. That is our great duty. Here it is very important to understand, even though we explain the Buddha's message, we never force anyone to come and believe this message. The quality of Dhamma is that ehi passika, come and see, not come and believe. That is the very important thing in Buddhism. We explain the path, how we purify our mind. If people are interested in the Dhamma, practicing Dhamma, they come to the Dhamma. That is why Buddhist monks are very famous in this world. People have understood who monks are. They explain the path, especially in the Western countries. Now most of people recognize monks. When we see a monk, they can understand who we are. And also they always ask us some blessings or chanting or advice from us because of their understanding. And also our duty is to spread this Dhamma. That is very important. The fourth one is preserving or protecting Dhamma. Protecting Dhamma also very important. But here we should understand practicing Dhamma is the real way how we protect the Dhamma. If a person practices Dhamma, actually when other people look at the monk, they can understand us, they appreciate us, and also they ask what we practice. You can remember when Arahant Assaji was going on the way, Reverend Sariputta saw him. Seeing his pleasant scene, Reverend Sariputta asked him, Bhante, your behavior is very pleasant. Let me know. Please explain me if you know anything, if you practice anything. At the moment, Reverend Assaji explained the Buddha's message in short. A lot of people recognize Buddhism throughout the behavior of monks. Therefore, practicing Dhamma is the proper way how we protect this message. Not only that, there is a very special discourse named Makadeva Sutta. You usually have heard about Makadeva Jataka, but there is another sutta, Makadeva Sutta. In Makadeva Sutta, the Supreme Buddha says, you should not be the last person of this dispensation of the Buddha. What is the meaning of that? We should not give the chance to be destroyed this message in our lifetime. We have a duty to transfer this message to the next generation. We should hand over this message to the next generation. That is the highest duty that we monks have. Buddha established the Sangha Sasana because of this intention. Therefore, we have a very heavy duty in our shoulders, not only learning this message, Not only practicing this message, not only spreading Dhamma, but protecting this Dhamma, we have to hand over this message to the next generation. That is the thing that we are doing here. When we learn Buddha's message, Buddha has explained very clearly there are several steps that belong to learning. Sutta, Datta, Vachasa Parikita, Manasanupekita, Dittya Supatividya. Sutta means listening to Dhamma. Datta, memorizing Dhamma. Vachasa Parikita, practicing Dhamma by words. Manasanupekita, reflecting Dhamma. And Dittya Supatividya, by practicing this path, clearing vision through Dhamma. These are the things that we need to do when we learn the Dhamma. Here it is very important to understand Pali language. As we monks all have learned Pali language, that is very important to go forward on this path. And also, when we see the Buddha's message, we can go forward. Especially, we should be a good friend to everyone. As monks, according to the Bhikkhu Sutta, when we learn Dhamma, when we practice Dhamma, we should be a good friend to everyone. Bhikkhu the friend of monks. There is a very special instance of Piyocha Garu Bhavaniyo, Vattacha Vachanakkamo, Gambirancha Katankataha, No Chattane Niyojako. These are the qualities of a real monk's friend. He should be pleasant. Garu means respected. Bhavaniyo, he should be admired. And Vattacha, he should advise others. And also Vachanakkamo, not only he should advise others, when other people show some mistakes or misbehaviors of him, he listening to very well. He should pay his attention to criticism. That is also very important. Not only that, Gambirancha Katankatta, he always should speak on deep matters. And also No Chattane Niyojako, doesn't urge anyone to do bad. Actually, these qualities are very important. No matter whether we are elder or younger, we should follow these qualities. If someone has these qualities, it means he is a good monk's friend. If a person has these qualities, actually he is a real friend of monks. That is why Buddha explained these qualities in the Bhikkhu Sutta, which comes in Anguttara Nikaya. And also, we have selected another topic as virtue or sila. Sila is the foundation of the path. That is why Jata Sutta explained, Sile patitthaye narosapanyo kittam panyancha bhavyam. Actually, sila is the protection of our life. We usually say that, I protect Dhamma. Actually, we don't need to protect Dhamma. Dhamma protects us. We are protected by the Dhamma. That is why Buddha says, Dhammo have rakkati dhammacharing. He who practices Dhamma is protected by the Dhamma. When we practice sila, actually we have a real protection. Nobody can disturb our life. We have an assurance. We are assured because of our sila. That is very important. There is another discourse based on this speech that Yodha Jiva Sutta or Patama Yodha Jivopama Sutta. This is a very interesting sutta explained by the Blessed One. Here Buddha explained 5 soldiers or warriors. That is a very important discourse. Here Buddha explained 5 people, 5 soldiers, warriors. The very first one is the first soldier falters, faints, doesn't steel himself, can't engage in the battle on scene, a cloud of dust motivated up by the enemy's army. There is a soldier, when he sees the cloud of dust of enemies, he is afraid of seeing that dust. Not only that, he falters, faints, doesn't steel himself, can't engage in the battle on scene. This is the first one. He is defeated in the first stage. The second one, second soldier, actually he is better than the first one. The second soldier who can handle the cloud of dust but on seeing the top of the enemy's banner or flag, he falters, faints, doesn't steel himself, can't engage in the battle. This is the second one. You know, when soldiers go to the battlefield, they are bringing in some banners or flags. That is for their proud. When other people, other soldiers saw these banners, they are afraid of seeing that. What happened to them? They falter, they faint, they don't steel themselves, can't engage in the battle. This is the second type of soldiers. The third one, he can handle the cloud of dust and the top of the enemy's banner, but on hearing the tumult, he falters, faints, doesn't steel himself, can't engage in the battle. You know, in the battlefield, there are some big sound made by the crowd. When they hear the sound, they are afraid of hearing that sound. They falter, they faint, they don't steel themselves, and they can't engage in the battlefield. This is the third soldier. How is the fourth one? Fourth one is that there is the warrior who can handle the cloud of dust, the top of the enemy's banner, and the tumult. But when he hand-to-hand combat, he is struck and falls wounded. In the battlefield, he falls wounded. This is the fourth one. He couldn't win the match. He falls wounded in the battlefield. He face-to-face fight, but he couldn't win the match, win the war. The fifth one, there is the warrior who can handle the cloud of dust, the top of the enemy's banner, the tumult, and the hand-to-hand combat on winning the battle. Victorious in battle, he comes out at the very head of the battle. He wins the war. When he sees the cloud of dust, he can face, he can handle it. And also when he sees the top of the enemy's banner, he can handle it. When he hears the tumult, he can handle it. Not only that, when he faces to the war in the battlefield, he fights and also he can win the war. This is the fifth one. Why did the Supreme Buddha explain these 5 persons? Buddha has compared these 5 persons to monks in the Sasana. Who is the first person? Buddha explained the first one. There is a monk. When he hears about some women or girls, he is unable to stay in the Sasana. He falters, he faints, he doesn't stay in the Sasana, he disrobes, he go home. Here Buddha says, there is the case of monk who hears in the village or town there is a woman or a girl who is attractive, good looking, delightful, endowed with the foremost lotus like complexion, he falters, faints, doesn't steel himself, can continue in the holy life. As the result of these things, declaring his weaknesses in the training, he leaves the training and returns to the lower life. This is the first monk. The second one, Buddha says, there is a monk. In first level, he doesn't falter, but in the second level, what happens to him? He sees for himself that in that village or town, or there is a woman or a girl who is safely good looking, endowed with the foremost lotus like complexion. On seeing them, he falters, faints, doesn't steel himself, can continue in the holy life, declaring his weaknesses in the training. He leaves the training and returns to the lowest life. The first one, only he hears, but the second one, he sees. By seeing these persons, he is unable to stay in the sasana, he goes. And the third one, Buddha says, he meets some persons and he laughs them, he associates with them, he is unable to stay in the monkhood, he goes to the lower life. The third one. The fourth monk, while he is spent in a monkhood, he is unable to stay in the sasana, he associates with some other people, and also what happened to him when he associates with them, he becomes the lower life. As the result of having sexual life, he falls in the sasana. And he couldn't continue his life without renouncing the training, without declaring his weaknesses, engaging in sexual life. He is defeated in this sasana. This is the fourth one. The fifth one, he overcomes everything. This is a fight. What is the fight? Actually, this is the fight with the Mara, with the Kilesa, defilements. Always defilements come to our mind. If we can fight with these defilements, we are able to win them. The fifth one, he defeats all the defilements. In the first level, he practiced the jhanas. By practicing jhana, he is able to overcome negativities, especially 5 hindrances, and also he can develop his spiritual happiness, inner peace, and also next level, practicing insight meditation, he goes to his spiritual goals. What is the final goal? Attaining some kind of spiritual levels such as Sotapanna, stream entry. This is a very interesting discourse that we can follow. We always try to become the fifth person. Actually, all of us, we know that we have defilements in our mind. By associating good friends, by listening to Dhamma, actually we have enough courage and dedication to overcome these negativities from our mind. In this discourse, we can get a lot of advice from the Buddha's message. And also, especially we are in the Western countries, when we practice and learn in Dhamma, when we go to the society to spread this Dhamma, we should have some qualities in our life. The very first one is language fluency. We should be qualified in international languages, especially English, And if we can speak in French, Spanish, and also if we can communicate with sign language, actually we are so fortunate. There are some universities who explain their sign language courses. There are a lot of intelligent people in this world who are deaf. Actually, even though they are deaf, they are very wise. They can communicate their ideas through sign languages. There are several sign languages in the world: French Sign Language, Japanese Sign Language, American Sign Language, Sinhala Sign Language. There are several sign languages in the world. If we can communicate with sign language, actually we are so fortunate we are able to spread this message to many people. They can get the results throughout learning this Dhamma. I especially invite Bhantes, please try to learn sign language. That is very important. I think a lot of monks don't pay their attention to this field, but this is very important. There is a special university in Washington, D.C. focused on deaf people. There are especially, we can see some professors who are deaf. Actually, they are so wise. They can understand any subject. They can't learn music like that, but they can learn and understand even philosophy, even psychology. They are so wise. If we can explain this message through sign language, we can do a great service to the world as monks. That is our duty. And also social skills. According to Buddha's message, Buddha says very clearly, Anyamanya Vachanena. We should talk each other. That is very important. That is the communication skills, social skills, and knowledge of new technology. Especially our monks know the new technology. That is very important to spread this message to the world, and also learning some new subjects such as psychology, counseling, psychotherapy, like that, and also understanding the cultural differences. Here it is very important to understand there is a very special subject, that psychology and counseling. Especially here we should understand intelligent quotient or emotional intelligence, Samvedanika Buddhi. In the current society, emotional intelligence is highly appreciated. Explained by Professor Daniel Goleman, they explain some qualities that a good person should have. As a strong personality person, we should have 5 qualities in our character. They are self-awareness, self-regulation, inner motivation, empathy, and social skills. These are the qualities new education focuses on. Even though we have a lot of degrees or educational qualifications, if we don't have these skills, actually we are not successful. In this situation, we have to develop these skills in our life. Self-awareness. Self-awareness means, in Buddhism, mindfulness. Self-regulation. Self-regulation means discipline, virtue or moral conduct. Inner motivation, encouragement, virya, effort, and empathy. Empathy means, according to Buddhism, suvacha, being gently spoken. When someone says something, we should have good attention what they say. And social skills, communication skills. Sometimes you don't believe in Dhammapada there is a stanza. In one stanza, we can see all these qualities. What is the stanza? Uttanavato satimato sujikammasani sammakarino sanyatasacha dhammajivino appamattasi asogwadati. In the Western society, emotional intelligence is highly appreciated. While they appreciate in these 5 qualities, Buddha has explained these qualities before 2500 years. We are so fortunate. We can explain these things to the society. Actually, if people know this message, they are so interested in learning Buddhism. If we know these qualities in Buddhism, we can explain this valuable message to the world very successfully. And also, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Have you heard about these 3 words in Buddhism? We usually think that these words come to the Asian countries from the West. Is it true? Actually, the Buddha has explained these words. In Anguttara Nikaya, we can see Supubbanha, Sumajjanha, Susayanha. Supubbanha means good morning. Sumajjanha means good afternoon. And Susayanha, good evening. Buddha explains the way how we make a good morning. The Buddha says very clearly, if a person does something with a pure mind, physically, verbally and mentally, in the morning, that morning is a good morning. Even though we say that good morning, it is not the real good morning. If we keep our mind pure and calm, if we do something with a pure mind, physically, verbally, in the morning, that morning is a good morning. And also Buddha says, if a person does something with a pure mind, physically and verbally, in an afternoon, that afternoon is a good afternoon. Sumajjanha. And also Buddha says, if a person does something with a pure mind, physically, verbally or mentally, that evening is a good evening. Actually, if we learn some things in Buddhism, some teachings in Buddhism, we are so fortunate we can give a new introduction to the world. And also we can change the society. And also, especially people in the current society, even though they are physically healthy, mentally a lot of people are unhealthy. They have a lot of problems in their mind. That is why a lot of psychiatrists recommend to their clients to practice mindfulness and loving kindness meditation. Most of people are stressed because of anger and also because of living in the past moment. If we can keep our mind in the present moment, we can overcome some problems from our mind. Buddha says very clearly, Satipatthana, Ekayano bhikkhave maggo sattana visuddhya soka paridhavana samatikkamaya. When in the current society, psychiatrists recommend to practice mindfulness for their clients, the Supreme Buddha has explained the value of the importance of practicing mindfulness before 2500 years ago. We can explain this message. Not only that, a lot of people in the world are stressed because of anger. Buddha says very clearly, he who wishes to attain the peace of mind should practice loving kindness meditation, contemplating on thus, may all beings be well, happy and peaceful. This is the way how we make a peaceful mind. This is the way how to overcome stress. Buddha has explained clear solutions for the problems in the current society. We can use these techniques and also we can get the results spreading this message to the world. And also, Buddha has given some examples for our life. Buddha always appreciated Reverend Sariputta, Reverend Moggallana, and Reverend Mahakashapa. Reverend Mahakashapa was very famous among the poor people. Always he was going here and there on the streets of poor people, begging food. He was very famous like that, the monk of poor people, Duppatunga Hamduru. When he associated with the people, he was like a moon. Moon can be seen everywhere. When we go somewhere, we think that we see that moon also is going with us. When we stay somewhere, moon also stays there. But we are unable to reach the moon. Reverend Mahakashapa was also like that. He always was with the very poor people, with the people, but the people are unable to reach him. Mentally, he is very far, but with the Dhamma, he helped many people. And also, Buddha says, be a new wife. According to Asappurusha Vaduka Sutta, Vaduka means Manamali, bride. Buddha says, we should be a new bride, wife. How is that? A very new wife, she is very shy and respects others. Even though that lady got married for a long time, if she is like a new wife, new bride, actually she is very fresh and new and respects others. Buddha says, as monks, we always should be like that. We should think that the day I was ordained today, then we respect other monks and also we respect the virtue and moral conduct. We always are very happy and very new. And also when we associate a person, even though we associate a person for a long time, we should have some difference. And also we should associate with someone like a new friend. Then always we are so happy, we are so new. That is also one of the examples given by the Supreme Buddha to the monks. Finally, Buddha says the field of the monks. Buddha always encourage us to live in the field of the Buddha. Gochare bhikkhave charata sake pettike vise. Buddha advised us to live in the field of the Father. Who is our Father? Our Father is the Supreme Buddha, our spiritual Father. Buddha encouraged us to live in the Father's field. What is the Father's field? Mindfulness. Living in mindfulness. Being aware of our body and mind. Whenever we are living in mindfulness, we are looking inside. When we experience something through our senses, the ordinary people always look at outside, but we who Buddha's followers, we look at inside, what happens to my mind. Then be always aware of our mind. We don't give any chance to anyone to disturb our peace of mind. Whenever, if a person can make us angry, it means we depend on outside. When we see something, actually first experience sees us very quickly. We recognize everything through our mind consciousness. When we recognize through our mind consciousness, the first experience, the form has already ceased. If we are ignorant, our mind is fixed in outside material world. It means outside world can control us. If someone can control us, be sure that we are ignorant, we depend on outside. Buddha explained the way how we make a real refuge. Buddha says very clearly, dwell with yourself as an island, as a refuge, with no other refuge. How is the way that we can make a refuge? Being mindful. According to Bhavana Sutta, Buddha says very clearly, Dhammadepa bhikkhave vihara dhamma sarana nanya sarana. Dwell with the Dhamma as an island, as a refuge, with no other refuge. Actually, if we can practice this path day by day, we are able to overcome negativities from our mind. Not only that, we can develop our inner peace. We are inspired by the Dhamma, and also we can do more service to the world because of our spiritual development. If we are satisfied, we can do more service to the world. That is why Buddha says, contentment is the greatest happiness. Santutti Paramandana. And also, Buddha encouraged us to live like a lotus flower. Lotus flower origins in the mud. It comes over the mud. It blooms with beauty and good smell. Like that, Buddha advises us to live like a lotus flower. If we can purify our mind, even though we are in the ordinary society physically, mentally we have overcome them. Mentally we are in the upper level, purifying our mind. This is the path that Buddha has explained in this speech. I wish to explain these things, especially the 6 qualities according to Sobhanti Sutta. Viyatto, Vinito, Visarado, Bahusuto, Dhammagaru, Dhammanudhamma Patipanno. Monks should be competent, disciplined, assured, educated, memorize and practice. With these qualities, we have to fulfill 4 areas: learning Dhamma, practicing Dhamma, spreading Dhamma, and protecting Dhamma. And also, Buddha encouraged us to be a good monk's friend. If you have these qualities, pure garu bhavaniyo, pleasant, respected, admired, admonishment, speaks on deep matter, doesn't urge anyone to do bad. If you have these qualities, actually everywhere we are a good friend. When we go to this path, actually it is very clear that our discipline in speech gradually increases. If we have right vision, then we have right intention. As soon as we have right intention, our words completely different. We have higher discipline in our speech. That is very important. Our words should be valuable. If we want to spread good words, our intention should be correct. If we want to correct our intention, we should have correct vision, right vision, samadhi, understanding the karmic law and understanding the patisampada or the dependent origination. On the path of heaven, for a blissful life, the Buddha encouraged us to develop our knowledge of karmic law. When we go to the deliverance path, we should know clearly the dependent origination, patisampada. In the sansaric circle, for a blissful life, we should understand the karmic law. For the spiritual life, for the attaining enlightenment, we should have the clear understanding about the dependent origination. It imasmin satidang hoti, imasmin asatidang hoti. When this is, this happens. When this is not, this is not. This is the path that Buddha explained. I really appreciate venerable monks that come in here and listening to this speech. And if you have any question, you can ask. And also, if you have any suggestions, I respectfully invite you to add your thoughts to this discussion. Thank you so much. May the Triple Gem bless you.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Dukkam pantāca nirdukkhaṃ Bhayam pantāca nirbhayam Sokam pantāca nissokāṃ Hontu sabbe pipānino Dukin pelena sat Dukin midetva Bien pelena sat Bien etivetva Sodinte vena sat Somnas vetva Nitin me hema sat Suepat vetva